Hello, so we are Farhaan and Artur. We are developers at OpenCraft, and we were involved in developing the in-context metrics for Studio. And today we'll talk about what we've learned and some challenges we faced. First of all, what is in-context metrics? It's a way to see in Studio the analytics that are relevant to the content that you are viewing right now. So instead of going to Superset and seeing the whole course data, you're seeing things filtered by the unit or section you're looking at. It helps you make better decisions about the units, which helps you make better decisions about the courses. It's built as a front-end plugin that integrates to the course authoring MFE. A set of superset dashboards that can be filtered by those specific elements in question. And lastly, an API that was added to platform plugin aspects that serves the front end with the required configuration.
Before we go further, I want to say sorry because this talk is going to be a rant. So when we got this RFE and we went to the discovery board, we started nailing it down. And last conference, I attended this amazing workshop by Felipe and Adolfo about plugin slots. And I was like, yay, we're going to implement some really good plugin slots. But when we sat down and we did a discovery, it's like, okay, this is a good feature. It goes into the studio and it has a very nice interface where authors can see what to do, how is the course doing, how is the unit doing. But then we thought, okay, where would this plugin will actually live? It cannot be a part of course authoring MFE because it doesn't really belong there. It has to deal with data, but it cannot be a part of aspects also because it's a very front-end basic component. The answer was somewhere else. So we created a NPM package, which basically plugins to the tutor contrib aspects, and then it gets to show on the course authoring MFE. So it's like a plugin to a plugin, which can be enabled by a flag. So it's like very secure. So that's what we had. I was like, okay, this is good. Let's start building it. So first learning is to find a home for your plugin and find a better one. We kind of agreed on this being a good home for it, but there could be a better place for it.
The second learning is that we should pay attention to the planning of the slots we will need. We had to contribute new slots to the course authoring MFE because we had with in-context metrics we get an analytics button to the side that opens the sidebar. And we ended up having different slots for a very similar functionality. One for the analytics button in the course outline, and the other in the for the analytics button, the identical analytics button in the same position in the unit page. There are reasons, both practical and technical, to have it that way. The technical reason is that those are different contexts, and the practical is that I believe there were different teams working on those two parts, so it ended up being a little easier to develop them separately rather than coordinate that. But duplicating that resulted in duplicating slots for very similar functionality, and that creates a bigger overhead.
The next learning we got was inter-slot communication. So when Felipe and Adolfo demonstrated it, it was supposed to be a slot, but we forgot that two slots can talk to each other. So how would they talk? They had to share the same amount of state or the same state or somehow same data. So what we did was the first attempt, which was to put the whole MFE in a plugin slot, because how else will you share data? It was a bad idea for reasons because now you don't know if it's an app or the whole MFE is a plugin slot. So we went back and we thought about it. Okay, what could be a best way to implement it? And since we had a single JavaScript NPM package, we thought, okay, we can have our own data store. And that's when we arrived at the second architecture where we say, okay, we are going to inject a data store in all of these plugins so that they can share data. So when you click a button in one slot, the other slot reacts to it and it opens a slide. This took time, and there is still a better way of doing it. We want to make a area for it so that we can get approval over that. But that was a very long implementation, and this feature wouldn't make into existence if we went that way. This was the most complicated part of all, because we were given a design, and we had to really embed this in a sidebar. And it would not show any information, because I don't think so we see the studio through a magnifying glass. I mean, I can, but not all of you. So we're like, okay, what to do about that? Then a bunch of devs, and we sat with Chelsea, and we figured out, okay, what could be a best way to interact with this? And so we added a small button which just opens it into a Moodle. So here's my point. Just like we do code reviews, where it goes multiple levels of filtering before it makes it to the repo, we should also have some kind of UX, UI reviews too, because it is very difficult when you are at the end of your development cycle, and to embed something like that, it takes time, it takes effort, and it nullifies a lot of things that has already been done before. So I don't know how we are going to achieve it, but this is one of my feedbacks that I would want to give, that we need that. And that brings the end to our talk. Thank you.
And we can do questions for any of the 4 talks we've done so far. Thank you guys for your talk. Anybody have questions for any of our speakers?
So this is for Regis about Tutor. Hi. So this is something of I don't know, long-standing concern in the community as well. I feel that when we just do the very first time when we do a Tutor dev launch, I have had, I would say, somewhat of 100% success rate in getting it to fail. If I do a Tutor dev launch in a fresh new install, I'm pretty sure it's going to fail. And there are a couple of things why it happens, starting from GitHub throttling my API requests and whatnot. But one obvious improvement could be that we have this in the documentation somewhere where we say like, Docker by default uses as many cores as possible or as many threads as possible to do as many builds as possible in the, concurrently. Can we add it into the documentation? Whatever you presented is amazing because it has a lot of configuration that makes it more usable, and it even includes like space management and whatnot. Can we add it as part of the documentation, at least for Tutor dev launch, or the page is called OpenCraft development with Tutor? Yeah.
So the question, no, I don't want to document it more, but eventually we should. So I don't think we should, let me phrase this this way. I think we need to get our stuff together to fix the upstream issue, which lies in the edX platform and OpenEdX. I mean, in many cases, if the build is failing, that's because there are too many freaking NPM packages. And because of Webpack, can you please get rid of these NPM packages in Webpack and not just delegate the issue to Tutor? That being said, yes, I agree that it's Tutor's responsibility to document the issues and to make it easier to install the platform. So documentation is an effort in progress, and we should be improving that. But that's just my rant and frustration. that we are trying to apply a bandage on a wooden leg by just documenting the things that are broken upstream. But yeah, documentation is a work in progress, and always, and yeah, looking forward to contributions or even just comments. Open an issue, and yeah, we'll try to fix it.
Okay, my question is for Peter. For the things that I saw, it looks like it could have been done via OpenEDX filters too. Have you guys I think it's a bit too technical, but have you guys investigated without using asides and using OpenEDX filters to implement the same thing?
We considered it, but didn't pursue it more than that. I see actually Braden sitting down. I think Braden had actually suggested it at one point. It wasn't clear to me how we would incorporate the course author into the flow with filters. And, as it practically came out, the course author isn't making many decisions, but they do get the ability to turn it on and off. So, for example, if there's a final exam or a proctored exam in the course, you don't get to use the tutor bot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this isn't a question, but more of a comment, which is just that I haven't seen many people outside of MIT using asides, and so I would love to see more, see them added to the example course or the demo course or something like that. Yeah. Today in my talk, I was doing a talk on search about the search within a course feature, and nobody in the room had used this feature, even though it's a very common feature that's been supported for years. I think asides is in a similar situation. So I've seen that there's a lot of code throughout the platform that we have to support asides, and it's we've invested a lot, especially Dave and Kale back in the day and so on, to make it all work, but hardly anyone is using it. So yeah. Maybe you have some more thoughts on that as well, but I'd love to see more stuff like this to get people aware of it if we're going to have it in the platform.
That was one of my motivations for suggesting this talk. And the next thing will probably be the documentation, and actually putting it in the test course or the demo course is a great idea. Thanks.
All right. So I was going to piggyback on that and say, did you consider as a home for this in-context metrics, did you consider asides? And if you consider them, why was it not the chosen solution?
So again, because of the RFP, the design was already given to us, and aside doesn't actually fit in that use case at that point of time. So to give you a short answer, we didn't, because it didn't make sense there.
I'm not sure if it applies to if it won't make a sites feed or not for this, but we don't have only by-X block in context metrics, but we also have them we also can see them in the course outline by unit, by subsection, by chapter, an overview of grades by graded subsections as well.
Awesome, yeah, I see. Anyone?
Any other questions? All right, let's give another round of applause to all of our great presenters.